The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most important waterways on Earth. At its narrowest point, it's only about 21 miles wide. Through this tiny corridor flows nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. Oil from countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates must pass through here to reach the rest of the world, which means if anything ever blocks this passage, the entire global economy would feel it. We are at war, y'all. And Iran just shut it down.
Iran is vowing to attack any ship trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
Iranian media reports that authorities have been ordered to set any ship trying to pass through on fire.
And here's the critical part. Iran sits directly on the northern side of the Strait of Hormuz, and that gives the country enormous strategic influence. Iran coastline, islands, and military bases overlook the shipping lanes where all the oil tankers pass. Over the years, Iran has built naval forces, missile systems, and patrol fleets designed specifically to operate in a narrow waterway. In other words, Iran doesn't just border the strait. It can monitor it, patrol it, and potentially threaten it. Because of this strategic location, the United States and its allies closely monitor the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Navy regularly patrols the Persian Gulf to ensure that oil shipments continue moving safely. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, and surveillance aircraft often operate in that region. Their mission is simple: keep the shipping lanes open. Because if the Strait of Hormuz were to ever close, global oil prices would skyrocket overnight. Over the years, tension in those waterways often escalated. There have been incidents involving oil tankers, Navy patrols, and military standoffs between Iran and Western forces. Each time the global markets react immediately, because everyone understands the same reality. The Strait of Hormuz is not just for regional waterway, it's for global economic lifeline.
Area has just been designated high risk by an international federation of transport workers who are paid to traverse it.
When people talk about global power, geography often matters just as much as politics. The Strait of Hormuz may look like a small strip of water on a map, but it sits at the center of one of the most important energy corridors in the world, and that's exactly why nations around the globe continue watching it so closely.
And can the U.S. kickstart it back up again?
It's America first. Anything get in the way of this U.S. dollar gonna die or be incarcerated like Maduro.
The Strait of Hormuz can't be closed like a garden fence, right? There's no physical blockage. If Iran has the will and it still has the means, it can make passage unsafe.
America keep people up at night and make things unsafe.
Part of the strait is just over 30 kilometers across. That number matters because it would, on its surface, ordinarily mean that control of the strait legally belongs to Iran and Oman. The Strait of Hormuz, considered a strait used for international navigation. The law's core guarantee that all ships and aircraft enjoy the right of transit passage, which shall not be impeded. And there's a more specific provision, which applies directly to Iran in this case. States bordering straits shall not hamper transit passage.
Maritime Security Center says an oil tanker has been attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, injuring 4 crew. Meanwhile, in another incident reported north of the capital, Muscat, an unknown projectile is said to have struck a vessel.
About 20 million barrels of oil traveled through the Strait of Hormuz per day last year, and at least $500 billion worth of energy trade. Again, in 1 year.
China, India, South Korea, Japan. Europe also buys a good deal of refined products like gasoline and jet fuel and diesel, but most of the crude oil goes to Asia.
The specific barrel of oil on a specific ship traveling through the strait. The price Canadians and Americans pay for oil is largely set on the global market.
A huge uptick in the price we pay for gasoline here in Canada and around North America. And it's not because of what's happening in the Gulf has suddenly changed the value of the oil that was refined last week and the gas that's in your car. It's the cost for those producers, for those refiners to go out and find replacement oil to refine into gasoline. Once oil starts to move somewhere, it moves everywhere really quick.
So a major supply disruption anywhere translates into a price increase everywhere, even in countries like the United States and Canada that export oil. We all face the same global price. Oil is the lifeblood of modern civilization. It's embedded in the supply side of the economy. So airlines use it to transport people. Trucks bring the garden shares or steaks or fish or whatever you're buying in your grocery store. It's an input into manufacturing.
The vast majority of the oil Iran itself exports, almost 2 million barrels of oil a day, China buys almost all of it.
It's not like, the price of chicken goes up, you can buy beef. But if the price of gasoline goes up, you still have to pay for the gasoline to get to work. So when the price goes up, it's like a tax. It's like a sudden big tax increase on businesses and on consumers.
As it drags on, those price increases, they're going to start to be reflected in how much money we have left in our wallets. It reduces the amount of money we have left to either invest or to pay down some debt or to spend on our everyday needs or the occasional luxuries.
We go 3-4 weeks or more and traffic cannot resume through Hormuz. In that case, we will have oil prices well above $100 a barrel. They will likely contribute to a recession, an economic downturn.
The worst case scenario is whatever you can probably imagine and 10x it. We don't know. This could get very bad. This could wrap up in a couple of... So far, the price went up, and it went up a little bit, but it did not go up in a way that would correspond with a broader, longer, harder conflict. Oil markets right now are saying, we don't think this is going to last, and if it does, we're going to have to reassess where prices are pretty quick and pretty dramatic.
The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world, anywhere on the planet. We're going to drill, baby, drill right away. Drill, baby, drill, and that's what we're doing. American natural gas production is at an all-time high because I kept my promise to drill, baby, drill.
When you look at crude oil's price, during Israel's 12-day war on Iran last year, where you might have expected a big oil price shock, there really wasn't much of one. Same goes here, when the US captured Venezuela's president, the leader of the country with the world's largest proven oil reserves. There's a spike, but the kind of spike we've seen many times before. And even the most recent increase after the most recent strikes on Iran, just a fraction of what we saw, for example, back in 2022, when Russia's invasion of Ukraine caused the price of oil to surge.
I think fundamentally, oil markets believe that the power and the necessity of the oil market will overwhelm whatever the politics driving the attacks are. And once this starts to cost more people more money, they expect the military operation to subside, or they expect some kind of a side deal that will allow oil to continue to flow in spite of an ongoing, more limited conflict.
We do have a lot of safety cushion in the market in terms of spare capacity, but also the strategic reserves, petroleum reserves in some countries. They have not been used and demand is not growing rapidly.
The main obstacle that's keeping ships from traversing the Strait of Hormuz is not weapons or threats or mines or anything else. It's insurance. Insurance companies have been really quickly scaling down the level of insurance they have, the kinds of insurance they have, and in some cases, the insurance policy entirely. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in cargo. They're not going to take the risk.
Now, can the US mitigate that risk? Maybe. Donald Trump has just posted online an intent to provide a financial backstop, though at the time I record this, there isn't a ton of detail. Just that no matter what, the United States will ensure the free flow of energy to the world. But in the meantime,
4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it.